Today, we're going to talk about ClawHub, a platform that's all about giving your AI agent some serious superpowers. We'll get into what it is, how you can use it, and, maybe most importantly, the big security trade-offs you really need to know about. So let's just start with the basic idea here. You've got this awesome AI agent, right? But out of the box, its skills are pretty limited. So the question is, how do you teach it new tricks? How do you make it do more and connect with all the tools you actually use every single day? Well, that's exactly where ClawHub steps in. The easiest way to think about it is like an app store, but for AI agents. It's meant to be this one central place where you can find and share and manage all these new abilities to make your AI so much more capable. So, let's get into the nitty-gritty. What is ClawHub, really? Well, at its heart, it's a public registry. Anyone can get to it. It's versioned, kind of like a software library, which means you can track all the changes. It also has this really cool vector search, which is just a fancy way of saying you can search for skills using normal language, not just some clunky keywords. But, and this is key, the publishing is completely open. There's no gatekeeper. And you're going to want to remember that part, because we're definitely coming back to it. And this is where it gets really cool. I mean, we are talking about skills that can let your agent do basically anything. It can search social media, it can manage your Trello boards, it can hook into your calendar. The potential for what you can build with this stuff is just, well, it's enormous. Okay, let's dive into how this all works. Because the real magic of ClawHub is just how ridiculously easy it is to bolt these new abilities onto your agent. It really just boils down to this super simple 3-step process you do right from your command line. First, you search for what you need, let's say calendar. Then you run the install command with the skills name, and then you can keep everything fresh with a single update command. I mean, it is designed to be as straightforward as possible. And bam, just like that, with a couple of keystrokes, your agent has a brand new superpower. It can now do something that, a minute ago it couldn't. The whole point is to make this process feel completely effortless, closing that gap between a complex problem and a solution that's ready to go. But, and this is a huge but, this amazing ease of use comes with a pretty massive trade-off. There's a security risk here that you absolutely 100% have to understand before you even think about installing your first skill. This quote here, this just nails it. It perfectly captures the core security model of ClawHub. Seriously, just imagine an app store, totally open, no one's reviewing the apps, and every single thing you download gets full admin access to your machine. That's basically the world we're in with ClawHub. Now, the technical term for this is no sandboxing. See, unlike a browser extension or a phone app that runs in its own little restricted box, a ClawHub skill has 0 limits. It runs with the exact same permissions as your AI agent. That means it can read your files, it can access your network, it can see your private keys and credentials, everything. And this chart really puts that risk into perspective, right? You can see ClawHub is sitting right there next to open registries like NPM, and we all know they've had their fair share of security nightmares. But here's the thing that makes it even scarier. An AI agent's skills can be running 24/7 in the background, watching everything your agent does. That just cranks up the potential for damage way higher. And hey, this isn't just some theoretical what-if scenario. Nope. In February 2026, this risk became very real in a big, coordinated attack they called ClawHavoc. Security researchers went through the ClawHub registry, and what they found was kind of terrifying. They discovered 341 distinct, malicious skills that attackers had managed to upload. And we're not talking about just a few bad apples here. These malicious skills made up a shocking 12% of all the skills that were audited during the investigation. That just shows you how widespread this campaign really was. Now, these attackers were clever. They used social engineering. They made skills that looked super useful and totally legit, and they targeted specific groups, people into crypto, content creators, developers. They even used typo squatting, where they create skills with names that are almost identical to popular, trusted ones, just to trick you. And the malware itself, it was devastating. It was this sophisticated info stealer that was designed to just vacuum up everything. We're talking more than 60 types of crypto wallets, browser passwords, developer secrets like SSH keys, system keychain data, even the credentials for the AI agent itself. So after all that, after the ClawHavoc incident, how in the world can you use this powerful tool safely? Well, the platform did introduce some new security measures, and more importantly, there are some very clear, practical things you can do to protect yourself. The platform now has what they call a two-layer defense. First, when someone publishes a new skill, it gets automatically scanned by VirusTotal, which checks it against like 70 antivirus engines for known malware. Second, when you go to install a skill, there's a local scanner on your computer that looks for obviously dangerous code patterns, things like commands that try to run shell scripts. But here's the catch. It's a big one. The ClawHub attack? It didn't rely on code that a scanner would just flag as bad. It used social engineering. It was in the documentation for the skill, tricking people into running malicious commands themselves. An automated scanner is never, ever going to catch that. So the most important thing to take away from this is that automated tools are not enough. You are the best in the last line of defense. This checklist right here, this is your guide. Before you install anything, you have to inspect the code. Look at the publisher's history, check the VirusTotal scan results, and never, ever, ever trust download counts. They are so easy to fake. And always remember, there might be hidden files, so if you're even a little unsure, test the skill out in a safe, isolated environment first.
Look, to put it really simply, do your homework, read the documentation, check out the publisher, and lock your skills to specific versions that you know are safe. And on the other hand, don't just blindly run commands you see in the docs. Don't install something you got in a DM, and please don't let a high download count fool you into thinking something is safe.
Which really brings us to the final critical point. ClawHub offers you incredible power to make your AI do amazing things. But because every single skill runs with full unrestricted access to your system, that power demands a totally different mindset. It means you have to install with intent, with careful thought, not on impulse. So the question is, are you ready for that responsibility?